Congratulations to Basilisk, the winner of the 8th Parachain slot auction. Today we have with us Jakub Gregus, co-founder at HydraDX and Basilisk, whose team just won the 8th Kusama Parachain slot auction. Welcome to the show, Jakub.
Hello, Brian. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so this is great. We had a couple of your teammates on the podcast previously. It's good to be able to speak to someone else from the team. How is the general sentiment of the team? How's the team feeling today after the big win?
Yeah, obviously we were super happy, but on the other hand, there is, of course, there is something to celebrate, but on the other hand, all the responsibility for making our community satisfied and happy and not disappointment them is much more bigger. So we realize that the real work is just starting, or is just ahead of us.
Yeah, I bet. There's obviously a lot of work still left to be done before you guys get your the token transferable and get all that stuff going and running properly. Are you guys going to even get a chance to take a breather and celebrate, or are you just going to rush right back into getting ready for this next phase?
Maybe a little bit after our meetup in Lisbon next week.
So very cool. What's going on in Lisbon? Is that like a meetup or?
Yeah, there will be our first community meetup outside of the countries where we are living. So we will be explaining their HydraDX Basilisk, the next steps for them. Like, for example, we will present finally the first products, their liquidity mining. There will be also a joint session with Angular Finance, which is our partners from Composable Finance, who are, as we are together as a joint venture, building the money market for the LP shares and other more exotic type of collaterals.
Composable Finance, they're working on Picasso, I believe, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so they're going to be going through this pretty soon themselves.
We hope.
Hopefully. Yeah. So it sounds like you guys have pretty strong community support. It must be pretty exciting to have that kind of backing. How did you guys go about cultivating such a strong community? What have you guys done to really get people excited?
Yeah, I'm often getting this question, especially from CMOs from different projects, was the secret sauce, or which marketing agency we hired to do the job. But actually, we spend on marketing, except of our time, $0 cost.
That's pretty good.
And pretty effective. Also, that's crazy. Sometimes when we are checking the stats for our newsletter, there's open rate something more than 50 or 60%. So I'm laughing that the e-commerce companies would killing for such a rate. But yeah, I don't know. Our secret sauce is maybe just really taking care about about community and answering all the questions in as transparent way as possible. Be honest, be humble. So if we something don't know yet, we will confess there, oh, okay, we don't know yet, but we will try as hard as possible to come up with a solution for this. Or
how novel that it is to be just honest and transparent and let this project speak for itself. Yeah, you'd think that would be the normal route of getting people excited. 50% open rate too. That's 10x what people would expect, I guess.
Yeah, and also we from the early days of Hydra and Basilisk, when we were starting to think about our tokenomics, I was always thinking about how we can push the team allocation as low as possible, because I was in 2020 when we were starting assuming this regulatory more harsh sentiment will be coming, because they will not like it, like many activities within the DeFi space. So I was always or we were all together. There was like team consensus for this. Like, of course, like push team and investors allocation as low as possible, uh, to make it then clear that we are not owning with investors and other insiders like more than half, or even like more than like our team allocation was always like 15%. It's not changed in Basilisk as well. And we were also very vocal in like crowd loans about like sustainability of Kusama Parachains. That some teams were from our point of view like throwing out too much of their tokens, and I don't know how they want to solve it. Renewals their slots like next year, which will be pretty soon, especially for the like first batch. It will be in May or April. So what they will do, like they will print another 30% of tokens, or what. So we were trying to present ourselves that we really care about Kusama ecosystem, and we never we never understand Basilisk as a canary network, but actually more as like brother network. So it's like older brother who is like paving way for Hydra, and we really wants to make Basilisk that the Basilisk will be serving Kusama ecosystem. So we don't want to just like try things there and then wait for the Polkadot parachain, but Basilisk will be its own thing.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, I saw an article about I think Derek Yu from Moonbeam was speaking at MainNet conference this yesterday, and said he's like, Kusama has kind of become its own network. It's not necessarily as much a canary network as kind of maybe was intended originally,
Right.
and it's interesting to see them kind of become its own thing. I mean, how do you guys are you guys changing it all your strategy for how you deal with Polkadot, or is this everything kind of full steam ahead, same plan as always?
I think the same. It's same plan like all like before. We hope that Polkadot parachains will offer a little bit less tokens for parachain slot. Not like from the grid or being like cheap or mean to community, but really like make it uh, economically very profitable for Parachain and for its community to having like make from shared security, which is Polkadot offering, like the real case. Like otherwise, if you are throwing out too much of tokens, uh, like then what's the sense? Like you could bootstrap your own layer one if you are so. If shared security should have like economic reason as well, there should be like some savings on it. But there
Yeah,
is some
that,
advantages of shared security, of course.
yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, we've been kind of working at Kraken to prepare for the Polkadot auctions, and I know that I don't believe any of the teams that are going to be bidding on a Polkadot slot have revealed what their rewards kind of rates are going to be for that for those auctions. But I assume it's going to be much lower than what we're seeing with Moon River with with the Kusama auctions. Um, yeah, I think that the sentiment that you expressed just now is pretty common. I think that most of the teams are feeling the same way. And just to go back to the whole, the discussion around the teams allocations, obviously, some groups choose to have very high team allocations, and it kind of becomes a negative signal. It's like not only does it come off as somewhat greedy, I think, but the more important point is if you believe in the longevity of your network, taking less and thinking that they'll grow to some high value is a much better signal, I think, of the health of a project.
Yeah, it was also coming from our experiences, like when we were trying to be active in some like projects or networks, that we always felt like, oh, this project is done for me. Like I never have like strong voice here, despite any like good ideas or feedback or something. And it's also, I think it's also case why we see so many of forks or so many of copycats of great projects, because like with a really high concentration of tokens for your investors, and you are just making case for another smart developers and researchers and founders that instead of continuing on working on the like original project, like their incentive is much better to fork it and start it as their own. On the other hand, like fork parachain or fork chain is like very different and very much harder case than just like forking smart contract and deploy it again.
Yeah, certainly there's a lot more effort involved. And you're right. I mean, there is a fine line you have to walk between having enough in your treasury to kind of incentivize new development and issue grants and do things like that, and not being too greedy, to the public. But yeah, it sounds like you guys have got a sound strategy for trying to combat that. So what can we expect over the next few weeks as you guys get out of the winning mode and move into kind of the next phase? When can people expect their tokens to be transferable? Do you guys have a timeline for that yet?
Uh, Not like the timeline and updated roadmap will be shared soon. We will be observing right now the stability of network, and if it's everything working properly, then we will let community collators start to work and produce blocks. So it will not, so the network will not be depending only on us. We will try the first runtime upgrades. We will bring the functionality and other pools. We need to solve how to we need to start testing interoperability with other chains, especially with Karura and few others. So we will be ready for our LBP, which is coming. That would be actually the first use case. So we will make a showcase even for the other teams how they can bootstrap liquidity on Basilisk via our own implementation of LBP balancer pools in Substrate and Parachains, and then the XYK pools, but enhanced by our invention of order matching transactions, will be launched with liquidity mining, and it will be gradually released by week or maybe like 2 weeks bi-weekly. And there will be also some like testing sessions with community. So we will be testing like UIs and front ends and also backends and everything is if it's everything working properly. And also they are pending or finishing security audits. Also, we would not like to release something which is not like fully audited.
Well, that sounds like a lot of work, and I'm sure you got a lot of community members that got your eyes on you to wait and see when this is going to all go live. It's extremely exciting. The last time we spoke with your team, we asked Maddie and Jakub to provide what we call a chaos score. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it essentially is a number we are asking everybody to give us, 1 to 10, of how chaotic this entire process has been for you and the team. 10 being extremely chaotic. So we'd be really grateful if you'd give us your chaos score.
Yeah, so in the first crowd loans, like to be honest, the chaos score was maybe 12 from on the scale of 1 to 10. And but right now the process and infrastructure and everything, we also get new team members who are super talented from other ecosystems, and also the infrastructure middleware was much more reliable these days. So right now it was, I don't know, maybe 5 or 3. Like it was like much better experience than the first time.
Great, thanks. Well, you guys just won, and you nearly won the previous auction. I think it was like very close. I'm sure it was probably nerve-wracking for you guys, but you guys closed it out. And I just want to thank you so much for stopping in and talking with us. So congratulations again to Jakub and the Basilisk and HydraDX team on the huge auction win. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me, and also thanks to Kraken community for supporting us even in the first crowd loans and in second as well.
Well, we're very excited to be able to participate in our small little way. Well, make sure you like, subscribe, and review us on your favorite podcast platform, and we will be sure to bring you along as we get a backstage pass into the world of Parachain auctions. Until next time, I'm Brian Hoffman, and this has been the Parachain Auctions Podcast. This content is not financial or investment advice. All interviews and discussions are opinions only. Kraken does not endorse the accuracy of this content. None of the following information should be construed as a recommendation to support any specific Parachain project or to participate in Parachain auctions in general. See our terms of service for more information.